my name is Joseph Skoda, and I'm always looking for different entrepreneurs or movers and shakers in my community who are doing some great things. Now, I have a guest today who I met in Toastmasters, and we're going to talk a little bit about how Toastmasters has helped his life, his leadership, his business, and different things going on. So, hey, Lewis, how you doing?
Hey, good morning. How's it going?
Good morning. In
Thanks for having
fact,
me here today.
we just came from our Toastmaster meeting this morning, South County presenters in Arroyo Grande, California. Now, you've been with us about a year?
Almost 2.5 years now.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And where's time gone?
Wow.
Well, you're getting better. You're
Well,
getting
thank you,
better.
thank you.
Anytime. And you gave a presentation today, and you started with, it's a small world. From Disneyland, Disney World, whichever one it was. It's a small world after all. What does that mean to you?
It's a small world after all. If you think about Disney, you think about what they're about as a company. Their brand is about creating memorable experiences. And that's for the customers that come in. And if you think about it for parents aren't going there for the rides. They're going there to see their kids have a good time and smile. But the kids are going there for the rides. They're going there for the excitement. Yeah. When I first went to Disney World, I went with my mom and my grandmother. And I remember waiting online at Disney World, waiting online to It's a Small World. Yeah. And you wait. You finally get on, and here I am, a little kid, 5 years old, and get on this little boat. You put your hands on the wheel, the back bar there on the boat, and you're going through, and it's dark, and you have these little dolls dancing, you have the lights flashing, you have that song playing over and over again.
Over and over.
It's scary for a little kid. But then I remember looking up at my grandma, and I remember the excitement in her eyes and how her eyes lit up. She's looking at all the dancing dolls, she's looking at the lights and the song going, and she's humming along. And that transcended onto me. And I said, wow, this is cool. So I wasn't scared anymore. Now I was in awe of this ride, and I was excited. And it created that highlight reel in my memory. Every time I go on that ride, I think about my grandma. Who's no longer with us, but it creates that excitement and that happy emotion that I had seeing her be happy. That is recreated when I go back to that ride.
So that's kind of stories, the memories, the things that keep in our mind and keep us focused on at least a happy time. There's obviously we go ups and downs in our lives, right. So we try to remember the good times.
We try to. It's interesting when you look at brands, you look at companies. They're all about creating experiences for their customers. Yeah. And the best ones, the best brands create those highlight reels in your mind. In fact, that's why when most of us, we go to the grocery store to go shopping, we're on autopilot. Because the brand logo, the identity, that's like a mini checklist in your head. When you're going through the aisles, you're just picking things off, you're putting them in your basket because you associate that brand with the product that meets your expectations.
Sure.
It's like Newman's own dressing, salad dressing. Been buying that for 10 years now. He's got a logo, a very distinct bottle. I go to the grocery, I just pick that off the shelf, put it in my cart, and I move on every single time. So I know that brand is going to meet my expectations. I'm going to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
I'm going to continue buying
he
it.
donates all the proceeds.
And 100%, yeah.
100% is all gone.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's a good product and it sticks in your mind.
Sticks in your mind. That's right.
That's good. Now, a little bit about Toastmasters and leadership and communication is what we're doing. How has it helped you, or why do you still stay with it 2.5 years later?
Yes.
Tell us your story.
Well, we had an amazing speaker today who really summed it up well for me too. Is Toastmasters is a family, and it's about developing relationships. And you look forward to seeing your family and friends, and that's why I keep coming. It's also to develop and improve my speaking abilities, but it's more so to connect with others, to listen from them and hear their stories, because that's how we all learn, is through storytelling. We learn through others' experiences. And if we're smart, we take their experiences and we apply them to our lives, so we don't have to go through some of the same hardships.
Sure.
So I do that to listen, to learn, and I do that to improve. And I think of all the different programs I've taken, Toastmasters has been one of the most effective in multiple areas of my life. I remember I didn't want to go to mixers. I didn't want to get out there and do some networking, like physical networking. I just didn't like it, but Toastmasters gave me the confidence to do that. Next up, cold calling. I hate cold calling. I have to pick up a phone. You have to call somebody you don't know. I got to knot in my stomach and I start sweating profusely, and I'm so scared. But Toastmasters gave me the power to go out there and call people. And I've gotten so far out of my shell the last 1.5, 2 years I've been here. And a lot of that's come down to others that have inspired me, others that are cold calling 100 people a day. I'm like, well, if he can do 100, I can do 5 or 10.
Right. Why not?
That's why I keep coming.
It's funny. I talk about it every now and then. It took me 12 years to get my 2-year associate's degree because I was afraid of speaking. in
Wow.
public. I
Wow.
couldn't do it. I was always nervous and shaking and would make up excuses why I couldn't go, and I wouldn't take the class. And today, I speak 2, 3, 4 times a week, sometimes in the clubs, sometimes outside the clubs, but all because of training. And like you said, the relationships that we're building when you hear other people's stories,
Yes.
saying we think we have it bad sometimes, and hearing someone else, and we heard some
Yes.
stories
We've
today.
heard some stories.
Yeah, and realize, regardless of where we are today, we all had to start somewhere,
That's right.
and it just made us bigger and better people. So you're saying it helped you, obviously, a better communicator. What were the leadership?
Leadership is a really challenging area for me because leadership is more than just giving people orders and watching them follow through.
There is?
I didn't know that.
Okay.
Up until maybe 5 or 10 years ago, I thought, hey, you're going to do what I say. I'm the leader. I'm the manager. I'm the boss.
Yeah.
And that's not a good way to live. And that old GE Jack Welch model of, hey, let's push it downhill. I mean, that's going by the wayside now. And leaders today lead with empathy. They lead with compassion. They lead with understanding. I mean, you can go and you can look at some of the biggest brands out there, like Uber, for instance, and look at their toxic culture. I mean, they ousted their CEO and founder because of that toxic culture he set up, and they're still trying to patch that up, and they're still having challenges. And you can look at some really innovative companies that have amazing culture, and the reason for that is they care for their team.
Sure.
And they show leadership skills by doing and by empathizing and by training and supporting. So it's not about just giving somebody directions and having them do it. It's about helping them uncover what they're best at and giving them the support and tools they need to achieve their objectives.
Achieve their objectives. And you do that, like you said, mostly with empathy.
I do that with empathy. I try my best. And I'm probably the best guy because I'm from New York. I'm brash. I'm a little abrupt. And I've had a lot of challenges. And I've overcome a lot of situations. And we had a really challenging time maybe 7 or 8 years ago where I was coming across to somebody in a very negative way. I didn't know it. And he had asked for my removal from the company. And he had gotten a few other employees involved, and they tried to go around me and to my CEO and try to get me removed from my position. And it wasn't until I learned of that I knew I had a problem. And I knew, I'm not interacting with people properly. And that's what led me to a lot of self-help, a lot of self-development, and got counselors and coaches. And I learned that I need to better relate with others. I need to be more empathetic, and I need to make sure that I'm not putting my visions, my achievements, and my goals onto others because they have their own lives.
That's right.
And that's what a lot of us forget is we have our own skills, we have our own experiences, we have our own goals, but those aren't somebody else's.
Right.
And you can't expect to put them into yours. And that's where I had a lot of trouble. And recently, in the last 3, 4, 5 years, I've gotten just night and day difference in understanding, relating, and really being able to lead others. And I'm really excited to say that some of my guys that have been with me 5 or 6 years have moved on to different companies because everyone evolves and grows. And some are working at Amazon, some are out of bigger companies and gotten some amazing jobs. And I think that's a lot to do to that change that I made to help support them and grow in areas that they feel they could be most impactful.
That is huge because we have our own visions and goals. But as we learn self-development, as we help other people accomplish their goals and vision, ours usually follows shortly behind.
Exactly.
So what's that saying? People don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care.
Yeah, that's right.
It all fits in. That's so true. That's so realistic, and that's all of us. No one cares. I have so many degrees, and no one cares. I stopped caring and stopped talking about it because no one cares. I want to know what am I going to do for them, or why am I here? Why are you speaking to me? What makes you think you're a leader? And you ever get that question? Anyone questions your leadership or what makes you think? Because you're still a fairly young guy.
Yeah.
Roughly about 30.
Pushing 40.
Yeah, something like that.
on the older side. Yeah. So leadership it's a very sensitive subject because people don't want to follow. I mean, people want direction and they want support, but they don't necessarily want to be told what to do. So as a leader, it's about being able to guide people, direct them, and all things that go wrong are your fault. All things that go right are your team's fault. That's their success.
Right.
So the leader always takes the faults and always gives the success to his team.
Have to.
When you have challenges with leadership, it's usually because either somebody maybe needs that more direction or they're not seeing eye to eye and there's a little bit of friction. And those are very difficult situations to handle. Somebody has to give up. Somebody has to say, hey, you know what? We're not seeing eye to eye. There's not a connection here.
Sure.
And I've had multiple cases where, in fact, the last maybe 3 years ago, I was brought into a position, and the leader that was there, just we didn't get along. We didn't see eye to eye, and I was trying to be empathetic. I was trying to care and trying to really develop that relationship. But there were just things that just weren't getting done properly, and we couldn't figure out how to get them done properly.
I understand.
So that's where leadership struggles, and there's ways where you can work through that with that person if they're open to it. If they're not open to it, then sometimes they have to find a different position in the company, or they have to give somebody else the role and hand over the reins. It's a very sensitive subject, and there's no silver bullet to solving it.
Well, actually, no, that's a good thing you brought up. That's a good point. Part of leadership is just finding the right roles or positions for people. We get the smartest person, but they don't necessarily have to be our assistant.
That's right.
You see them day to day. You put them where they're comfortable, and that's hard to do as a leader. Especially you don't want all the talent right around you.
Exactly.
But sometimes you're smothering them or vice versa, and the friction like you talked about, and it's important to let them grow.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I appreciate that talking. So Toastmasters helped a little bit, at least get you your confidence picking up the phone and be able to communicate with others. It's helped me in leadership roles that I'm involved in now.
It's an amazing resource, I think, for anyone that's trying to improve themselves. It doesn't even have to do with public speaking. I mean, public speaking is a small part of this Toastmasters organization. It's more about articulating your stories, connecting with others, and figuring out how you can inspire and motivate your audience. And that obviously comes down to public speaking, but more so comes down to your experiences and your stories and how you tell them. And that could be in written format too. In fact, I hired a content coach that's helped me write all of my stories, and just recently got published in Forbes, which was pretty cool my first time. Yeah,
awesome.
Pretty excited about that. And
wow.
I also just got voted the top 33 digital marketers to follow in 2019. So a lot of that came back to Toastmasters and helping me articulate my story and share my experiences and help inspire others.
Wow, that's a great story. And thank you for your story.
Absolutely.
And me too, the things we're learning. So, Lou, gonna cut it off right here, but I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing more of you in the different things, projects you're involved in.
Thanks a lot, Joseph.
Take care, big guy.
Bye-bye.
All right.